One of my biggest lessons that I've learned this week, and I learned this the hard way, was tracking the data, but tracking the data correctly. I made a few slip-ups with data. I hadn't been tracking it that good, and business is already hard enough without tracking data and making calculated decisions. With data, it makes life a lot easier. And so that's one thing, and the harsh reality that I learned this week was that it is so important to track the data, because if you don't, you're gonna get screwed over. Big time. And so if you are out there and you are starting your business, you need to be tracking data. Now, the data that I've come to terms with that I know is really important to track is the ABR, or the appointment booking rate, the close rate for my sales calls, my show rate, and then stuff like the CAC, the cost to acquire a customer, and all of these other metrics as well, like gross profit, net profit. All of them are really, really important, because if you don't track that stuff, you never know if it's improving or decreasing. And so you're just playing a guessing game. And so it is so important that if you are not already, track the data and track the data correctly, because the problem is if you don't track the data, you're making decisions based on guesswork, and that could have a detrimental effect on the business, because you might be changing something that you think isn't working but actually is working, and it's working quite well. And then what you'll also find as well is if you change one thing, something else is going to change as well. And so it's just a reoccurring cycle. And so if you track the data, then you know that what you're doing is the correct decision to be making at that time, because at the end of the day, we have a limited amount of time in a day to work, and you want to optimize and leverage that time as much as possible and do the needle moving tasks, the things that are going to move the business forward as fast as possible. So track the bloody data if you're not already. Remember guys, like with anything on my videos, as always, remember always, always, always take action.